Welcome to this week's Household Huddle. Before we start this week's huddle, I want to say thank you to all of our friends who shared their pictures of creation hopscotches that they made last week. Awesome job, everyone. Okay, now before we jump into this week's story, let's take a minute to remember just what a household huddle is. Household huddle is a time when you get together with whoever is in your household, whether it be the household in your church or the household in your home, and you take a little time to spend together. Now, there's a simple model to follow when you're doing a household huddle, and it has 4 steps. You breathe, you share, you reflect, and you thank. So first, we breathe. So let's take a deep breath. Because taking a deep breath helps us to make a little space between the busyness in our lives and all the time that we spend together. Second, we share. Then we share our highs and our lows, and we share our joys and our concerns. And this is when we not only get a chance to share, but we also get a chance to listen to one another. It's also during the sharing time that we sometimes share the story from the week. Third, we reflect. During reflect, we take some time to reflect on the story. Maybe thinking about what the story says to us or how it connects in our lives. Sometimes we also reflect by doing some kind of an activity together with our household huddle. And fourth, we thank. Sometimes we thank someone in our household huddle for something that they've done, and sometimes we thank God for something we've experienced in our lives. So, as you can see, household huddle is a model that helps us to build relationships. It opens communication and caring, and because everyone gets involved, it lets everyone know that they matter. And the best of all is household huddles are flexible. You can hold a household huddle just about anywhere. Now that household huddles are online, I want you to feel free to pause the video if you want to ask questions or if you want to talk to your household huddle about what you've just heard. Okay, my friends, so this week we hear the story that happened after the creation story that we heard last week. It's a story about the first 2 people that God made. Do you know what their names were? If you answered Adam and Eve, you are correct. Well, Adam and Eve lived in the Garden of Eden. And the Garden of Eden was a beautiful place where Adam and Eve had everything they needed. There were animals to talk to and play with. There was clean water to drink. And there were trees with all kinds of different fruit to eat. And all that God asked them to do was to take care of the garden and the animals. God also told them that there was one thing, only one thing, that they were not supposed to do. No matter what, God said, do not eat the fruit from the big tree in the middle of the garden. One day, while Adam and Eve were walking through the garden, they looked up and saw the most amazing, most beautiful apple they had ever seen, hanging from the tree that they were not supposed to eat from. It looked so shiny and so red and so delicious. Then a snake that was resting in the tree said, "Why don't you eat the apple? It's the biggest, nicest, juiciest apple that I've ever seen." Adam was worried, and he told the snake that God told them to never eat anything from that tree. The snake laughed a little bit and said, "There's nothing to worry about. You should take a bite. Come on, try it. Hey, maybe God doesn't want you to take a bite, because then you'll know everything that God knows." Even though Adam was nervous, Eve believed the snake's lies. She looked at that juicy apple. It sure was tempting. Then she reached up, picked it, and took a bite. It was delicious. So she told Adam to take a bite too. At first, Adam didn't want to, but then he figured nothing happened to Eve, and the apple did look awful good. Like Eve, Adam sure was tempted. So he took a bite too. Suddenly, they both knew that they had done something wrong. And when God came to visit them, they hid, because they knew that they had disobeyed God, and they felt very bad. Okay, so here are a few things you might want to talk to your huddle about. What have you been tempted to do, even though you know it's wrong? If you were in the garden and the snake told you to eat the apple, would you eat it? What do you think Adam and Eve should have said to the snake? Great job, everybody. Okay, if you're looking for an activity to do with your household huddle, let's think about something that could be tempting. How about cookies? What if you tried a few cookie challenges with your household huddle? Now, you might want to just eat the cookies right away, but if you do, you won't be able to do the challenges. So don't be tempted. Okay, for the first challenge, you're going to take a cookie, put it on your forehead, and then without using your hands, though it may be tempting, you need to get the cookie from your forehead into your mouth. As you're doing it, pay attention to how many times you're tempted to use your hands. If the cookie drops, just put it back on your forehead again. For the second challenge, you need a timer. For this challenge, you have 1 minute to stack up as many cookies as you can using only one hand.
One hand. Start over.
That's good. Oops. As the stack gets taller, be careful it doesn't fall over.
You
You can't hold it. Let go.
When 1 minute is up, count how many cookies you've stacked and see who in your huddle can stack the most.
Go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You
You can't hold it. Let go. Corey wins again.
I wonder, how many times did you want to just eat the cookies? Or did you want to use your hands to make sure the stack stayed secure? Temptations are sometimes hard to ignore, aren't they? Well, my friends, we always end our household huddles with a thank you. So this week, I'd like to thank all of the parents and the grandparents that are watching our household huddle videos with their children and their grandchildren. I know that sometimes it's tempting to do something else when the kids are watching a video, but your participation really makes a difference. Thank you to everyone for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy your household huddle this week. Remember, household huddles can happen anywhere and anytime, so just be creative. But no matter where you are or what you're doing, remember that you are amazing. And don't ever forget that God loves you just the way you are, and so do I. If you'd like to share a picture of your cookie challenges to be part of next week's Household Huddle video, first we'd ask that you hold your camera horizontally and then email them to Pastor Kelly at oldtownucc.org.